Welcome to day 2 of the DMAs. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Ryan Edge. I am a privacy engineer at a company called OneTrust. So we're a software company and we help organizations comply with global privacy regulations.
Privacy engineer, I love the title.
Yeah,
so talk
absolutely.
to me about what you do.
Yeah, so I work with our customers as well with our product and R&D teams in-house to help our customers understand how our different solutions help them when it comes to these global regulations.
Great. So talk to me about why you're here at the DMA, what brings you here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're here really hoping to reach out and speak with, marketers that, have their own organizations that are in their marketing departments of, their companies and understand, how they're facing some of these challenges that are out there from the GDPR and e-privacy and some of the different privacy regulations coming out across the world and how that's impacting how they target and interact with their customers and how we can help ensure that they're doing that in a way that's compliant with these regulations.
Very nice. And so when you have clients coming to you, what are some of their biggest concerns right now?
Yeah, so
besides maybe the obvious GDPR.
Right. I would say a lot of concerns around GDPR and e-privacy out of the EU. There's also been some new regulations passed across the world. We've seen things coming out of Brazil and India, and California here in the US has caused a lot of interest lately as it relates to marketing and how data gets sold and processed. So those are a lot of the things that we're talking to folks about. And really here we've had a lot of conversations around consent. So consent being one of the legal bases for processing data under the GDPR, and how organizations are struggling to ensure that when someone's opted in for direct marketing or for email marketing, if they've opted in for cookies being used when they're on an organization's website, how are they ensuring that they are tracking that, gathering consent that's considered valid under the GDPR and e-privacy, and being able to keep and maintain that audit trail. So, if a regulator does come to them, they're able to say, hey, we've done our due diligence, we're doing this the right way, and we are processing this data, but we're doing it in a compliant manner.
Very cool. So now if you look at clients coming to you and facing obviously legal parameters kind of across the board in different ways, if you have a client that's international and they have to face all of these different laws,
right,
how are you really advising they navigate the waters? Do they just default to the strictest laws, or?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So really around marketing and cookies and these things that a lot of the folks we've talked to here are concerned about. The GDPR combined with the current e-privacy directive out of the EU is kind of the strictest law right now, or has the most requirements associated with it. So we find that, if they are international organizations that fall under the scope of GDPR, that's really where they're focused and they want to meet those requirements. And oftentimes that is satisfying a lot of the requirements in some of these other regulations. So I use the example of the California Consumer Privacy Act that came out a couple months ago, passed through the legislation. A lot of the operational requirements with that regulation are very similar to some of the things under GDPR. So those organizations that have, attacked GDPR and, work towards compliance there are in a really good spot as it relates to California as well.
So what is one of the biggest concerns your clients have right now?
Yeah, so I would say one of the really big concerns, especially from our clients that are really marketing focused, is these regulations are coming in and ensuring that they're treating data of these individuals in the right way. And a lot of especially organizations that their marketing really affects their bottom line have a lot of concern about if we use the example of cookies for web traffic, if organizations rely on targeting advertisements and things of that nature and tracking folks around the web. If they allow their users to, for example, opt out of cookies on their website, there's concern that that's going to, maybe impact their bottom line. So that's a really interesting concern that some folks have voiced while we've been here around, the marketing side of things colliding with compliance there. But, we just urge organizations to think about, as marketing has become so data-driven today, there's a person behind that data, right? And there are regulations that are giving rights to those individuals. And so it's certainly a balance of ensuring that, you're doing the proper things to be compliant and meet these regulations, as well as continuing to do, what you need to do from a marketing perspective to reach your consumers. So that's been a really interesting one that people have voiced.
Interesting. Now, any other advice for marketers today before we leave?
I think really what I already said with, just understanding that marketing has become so data-driven and there are a lot of regulations now governing the rights and the freedoms that the individuals behind that data have. Certainly just want to encourage marketers to continue to think about that as they, develop new technologies and processes internally. Keeping that in mind on the front end is always helpful when ensuring compliance with these different regulations.
Great. Well,
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
It's been
Yeah,
a pleasure
thank
having you here.